SABA Radio.
Hey, this is Chad Shapiro from SABA Radio, and you might be watching this on social media, or you're listening to this on the radio. And we thank you for listening, and we ask you to share it, like, comment, be part of the community. On the radio, I save it to my phone just so I have a chance to click on it often and be able to listen to the great podcasts and music that we have there. Today, we are very, very blessed to have Yolanda here, who has been helping with a lot of the nonprofits throughout our city. Thank you, seriously, for making your time. I know you're very busy.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Chad. I definitely feel like this is a great opportunity, and thank you for giving me some minutes.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So just could you lay out for people what you do? I know you're a nonprofit consultant and been a real blessing, like I said, to some of our churches already. And maybe just for those that haven't gotten a chance to meet you yet, maybe talk a little bit about that, if you can.
Yeah. I currently have 19 years experience in nonprofit. I was the vice president at CASA in San Antonio for 14 years. And I left there and started contracting with Texas CASA, who is sort of a program oversight of the 72 CASAs in Texas, and started doing some consulting in that manner. Once the community in San Antonio found out I wasn't tied to a San Antonio nonprofit, then they knew I could help them, because before I couldn't.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of resources and help and PR experience in all different areas in CASA that I've worked in, training, vice president of operations, programs, and building, and this, that, the other. I had experience in almost every facet of a nonprofit. So then the Lord put in front of me, you need to start your own business, consulting business, which is not what I had planned. But it doesn't matter what my plan is. It's God's plans. And so it all started with people, do you have a card? I don't have a card because I don't have a business, because I'm doing, this other. And so Alamo City Consultants is what resulted in that. I've had that company for 3 years now. And I'm still doing Texas CASA as well. But with Alamo City Consultants, I began to get a lot of calls, emails, texts, help. We have this issue with our nonprofit. We have this issue with our nonprofit. And it's all different.
Yeah.
In and out of the city. And so that's what I started doing.
Oh, yeah.
And it just, what I came to find out is there's not a lot of nonprofit consultants in San Antonio. There's not very many, and here's why. Because if you're a nonprofit, those out there listening that have a nonprofit, there's not a budget line item to pay somebody like me to come in and consult, coach, hire, strategic planning, development, whatever. And so a lot of them found out real quickly that they needed it. And then there was some consultants that came in and they didn't have one day working in a nonprofit, and they went in there trying to help them. And I had to undo some stuff, and there was just some stuff that wasn't right. And so I sort of helped them out, and just pro bono, because they had been taken. And so it just took off, and I just had nonprofits one after the other knocking on my door for the reason, a lot of it is word of mouth, like contact Yolanda, and that's what happened. So that's what I was doing for that. Yeah.
That's awesome. And that's how I think some of our churches, came to know you, and then you really helped them. What are some of the common, things that you hear requested, that you can provide answers to typically? What are the main issues they've got?
Yeah, within nonprofits, there's so many different nonprofits that offer different services. So they all have specialized needs or specialized staff or volunteer based, and they need volunteers. So it's all different. But as an example, I had one nonprofit that was going to close, and so they didn't have any money in the bank. They needed a lot of help. And so I came in there and I dissected it, for lack of a better term. I just dissected the whole agency and got them some more board members. They did a great fundraiser, started showing them how to connect to banks and hospitals and attorneys and others that could give them money. Showed them how to locate grants, and they had lost all their staff. It was just them. Like they were. It was just.
Wow. Yeah.
And so when I left them, I didn't leave them till I was definite that they were going to be okay. They had hired all their staff back and more. They had 10 great board members with great leaders in the community in that city. It's 5.5 hours from here. And they had a great fundraiser. They had $40,000 in the bank after payroll. And so they had done some recruit. They just had done a lot of work, but it's sort of like I had to go in there and retrain the CEO on these different areas. And they were like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know where you did, you know. And so just putting it all together and making sense of it and making it, it's like they understand how to access grants or how to access a certain way to do QuickBooks or whatever the case may be. And so today that agency is fast and furious, up and running, and doing amazing. They're doing really great. So it's stuff like that.
Yeah.
I had another agency that was having some struggles in volunteers, and so I went in there, and everybody was pretty tenured. So they were really stuck, but it's because they were used to doing the same old. And so somebody like me who comes in and has
Fresh
the
idea.
experience, you know, when I joined Casa San Antonio, we were a little far down the list. By the time I left San Antonio, out of the 1,000 casas in the United States, out of 1,000, we were number 6 by the time I left.
Nice.
Because we got up to 820 volunteers.
Nice.
Yeah. So I sort of extrapolated everything, met with each staff, and figured it out. And within a 2-month period, they blew their goal out of the water.
Yeah.
And so one that they hadn't met for 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's just outside eyes coming in and having what's really important about the consulting I do is my experience. You can be a consultant and not have very many years experience or never worked a day for a nonprofit and go in there, and there's a lot of disconnects for yourself because you don't understand it. You know, pretty much every nonprofit that's approached me or job or phone call, I've been able to troubleshoot or figure it out or connect or get them in the right place and get them moving, and they're just very grateful. I do a lot of I've done a lot of pro bono work for some of these nonprofits as well.
Thank you for your heart on that. I know that's not always easy, but and that's what I've seen from Yolanda from the last few years of kind of just connecting with some of the nonprofits that she's supported already. I know with SABA, having this many churches, whether it's South Side or North Side or East or West, I mean, when you're talking about, from my understanding, the biggest association in Southern Texas, business or nonprofit, just with how many people. And so thinking of our city the way that you love it probably watching, that we love it. These nonprofits get birthed that somebody has a dream and a vision, but there's a lot of planning that still needs to be done. The visionary came up with the idea, but there needs so much help.
Yes.
And then if we don't turn to people like Yolanda or an association like SABA to help support those dreams, we just run around sometimes as leaders all by ourselves. I'm sure you've seen that, right? Like big egos kind of just figuring it out.
Yeah, I have and the Secretary of State has all the filings, but there's a lot of individuals who have the passion, who have the heart, who have the vision. They do that first Form 202, it's called, and then they do the second one. They become a 501c3, and then it ends up that they stop. They don't know the next step to take, or they can't give anybody to give them volunteers or $1 or whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of nonprofits that start and then they don't continue because it's not as easy as sometimes people on the outside think it is. There's just so many different variables within the nonprofit that you still have to be accountable for and still need to get that puzzle put together. And it can be pretty difficult sometimes depending on, hopefully, and this is what somebody called and said, I want to do a nonprofit. What do you want to do a nonprofit for? I don't know. And I said, well, what's your passion? Like, you're not going to do one to fix bicycles if you don't know how to fix bicycles, was my example to them. Yeah. Like, you have to have that passion within you and walk with the Lord and trust in the Lord to help you understand the path you need to take. He'll guide you, Yeah.
Oh, man, it's so awesome. And so the path, the resources, like you mentioned, some of these hurting financially, and then need to understand about grants, understand about outside fundraising, because great worthy ideas but no gas in the car, can't really go that far, and spending all your time building the structure but with no chance to power it going. I'm sure you see that quite a bit, because I know the blessings, like I said, that she's been able to help some people that great vision, had everything set up, but similar to the one that you described, maybe the bank account was low, and then all of a sudden she tweaks a few things, and they now they're up and rolling, and things are really humming. I think that's the nonprofit challenge, right? Like, it's like, how do I get those grants when I've never done it before? How do I seek that help? Well, any thoughts about that you would share? I mean, because I don't know that much about it either.
Yeah, the grants can be kind of tricky because when you're brand new, a lot of branchers don't want to touch you. They want you to at least have a year under your belt because of the number of nonprofits that become a nonprofit. In between that and the 12-month period that just drop off the face of the earth or really don't do what they said they were going to do. The grantors and funders a lot of times don't want to touch them within that first year, and it could be 11 months or 13 months or whatever. It's just that's the reasoning behind that
makes sense.
But if you have a good mission and vision, and I always throw in there, and values are very important to me, but and you talk to the right people, and there's a lot of great-hearted funders in San Antonio, you should be able to get the funding that you're looking for, because all different areas in all different, what I say to nonprofits, it's so important to have a diversified funding stream as well. So you have your grants, you have your foundations, you have your individual donations. Like if I give to probably 10 different nonprofits every month or every other month. Just
that's awesome.
Individuals, fundraisers, you have to try to do all of them, because if one of them does shut down or stops,
Yeah.
you know, and you were relying on that, what are you going to do now? You, the worst thing to do is to have to tell staff you have a reduction in force, a RIF. You don't want to do that because it doesn't look good on your agency as well.
Yeah.
So all that is so important. And that's how, and I don't know, now or later, I'm the spokesperson for Kim's Angels as well, which
Yeah.
is a foundation.
Okay. Yeah.
So
that's where I think I've seen. Maybe is that where some of the nonprofits I'm probably familiar with? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So Kim Rapier Barrett and Glenn Barrett are the philanthropists for Kim's Angels Foundation, and
I think I'm friends with them on Facebook, and they're doing amazing stuff. Like you get those big checks.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I do all those presentations.
That's so awesome.
And she has a huge heart. I mean, last year she gave $19 million out.
Wow.
And a lot of it was in San Antonio. And her thing is, I want to change the world. I want the people to get this money. She doesn't want to, build something, whatever. She wants it to feed people, to clothe people, to help people, the cancer kids, the cancer adults. And that's, she has an amazing heart and has been able to help a lot of the nonprofits that you see on my Facebook, and I'm the one that does the presentations with the big checks. And it's been heartwarming because it's the nonprofits that she's given to, but also what's considered a nonprofit is a church. So like Redeemer's Praise Church with Pastor Shatigo.
Yeah, I just saw her 2 days ago.
Kim, out of her huge heart, gave her $500,000 to build the Love Center in an area on the east side that is such a desert for resources for those individuals that are lacking. And they're such respectful individuals. The way people look upon them is just not right because they don't have as much. And yes, they're living homeless. And yes, they have 2 different shoes. But still, they deserve respect. And you walk up to them and they're so nice to you. Like, they're just incredible people. Things have happened. And it could be mental illness as well in there and different things. And so what she does over there, Kim saw her heart. She's there 24 hours a day, sometimes feeding people straight and whatever. So that Love Center is going to be able to bring people in, feed them, clothe them, shower, washing machines, cooking, GED classes, counseling, ministry, bringing these people to the Lord one by one, and they could be coming to the Lord on their first visit. They could come back the 50th time, and finally, but she's going to be there. Yeah. And so Kim's also given to faith-based organizations and agencies and churches, and so I appreciate her huge heart. She's just changing a lot of lives, saving a lot of lives with the. I don't know how much familiarity the community has, but there's individuals that need particular treatments for cancer, and they don't have insurance and they don't have the money, so they just go home and say, "This is it." Yeah. Well, Kim funds agencies like ThriveWell and Mahila's Heart, who and ThriveWell does a lot of the medical aspects. Okay. They come in the front and they say, "Oh, you need this medicine, you need that, the other." Kim's mom got services from ThriveWell, Susan Hall. Okay. So Kim created with ThriveWell the Susan and Samantha Fund to help with those expenses that the individuals couldn't make. Because Kim's mom was in line, and the lady was next to her saying, "I have to cancel my appointment because I don't have the money to do it." So she went and told Kim about it, and Kim contacted ThriveWell and said, "That's not going to happen under, I'm from San Antonio." Yeah. She graduated here. She went to UTSA, and she started her own business on the south side, and then WellMed, and she said, "This is not going to happen." So
That's
that's the other thing Kim does. You know, she's like, these lives need to be saved, changed, whatever the case may be. She's making lifelong differences in foster kids, you know, by providing different things that they need,
big need
and
right there.
helping with
Yeah.
housing at SJRC, Texas. And she's just uh, in 50 or 100 nonprofits in San Antonio,
Yeah.
you know. And so she's a true blessing. And there's a lot of people praying for her, and the Lord just keeps blessing her.
That's
And
awesome.
she gives back.
Yeah.
She gives it all back.
Right.
Mhm.
Which I think is the nonprofits that might be watching. You have a heart to give back like crazy, which
Mhm.
we thank you for your heart and what God's put on your heart to help our community. And at the same time, right, that we need other pieces of the puzzle, and we need people like Yolanda, we need people like Kim, but people aren't going to just throw money for you for no reason. You know, they need to see you that it's a worthwhile thing, that it's trusted, that you've been fighting through, that this is really something that is gonna see through, right? Like if I'm gonna sow some seeds into it, I want to know, you know, that they'll have a chance to grow, that it's not gonna
Yeah.
be handled poorly, and that's where we hope, and are excited about SABA being kind of a hub with great people like Yolanda. So I thank you for being here, because I wanted
Thank
them
you.
all to meet you, and so that we can start to see where, you know, all these causes that come through here, these doors, which are a lot, that may need consulting, need help, start to be able to figure out whether it's grants or a city, you know, funding, that we're there, we can start to work together towards that, because we need to be that organized. So I thank you for being here. I'm
Sure.
excited. Hopefully you'll be around here a lot more often with us, and then you as well. You know, SABA Radio is in its infancy. We're very fortunate that these pastors are so excited about it,
Yeah.
and that they're starting to share it on their social media feeds, even from the pulpit, and all the great music, and then building a studio here to support. A lot of these costs are very expensive. You know, like sometimes they're so high cost, and we want to be able to come in and be a real blessing to the nonprofits that are in our city with things. So, you know, and so that's why we're starting to create all of this, and we could use your help though in terms of staying tuned and being a part of everything. So any last words? But I thank you for your time, and I'm excited that everybody got a chance to hear all this.
No, thank you for having me. And the only thing I want to add is my church is My Redeemer Lives with Dr. Robert Campos, and I'm so grateful to the San Antonio Baptist Association, because when the pandemic hit and bills continued in the church, they were there for the church, and
awesome.
they were there for many, and so I just think everybody needs to continue blessing the San Antonio Baptist Association, because they give forth those blessings to others. So,
thank you for saying that, Yolanda.
Yeah.
I would always want to say that, but for you saying it,
No,
you know, the
it's
food,
just
the
heartfelt.
hunger walk, the churches that are in need, you know, like all the church planting, you know what I mean? Like there's a whole budget. And again, if the budget's big, then the church plants are even more supported, right? But if the budget's small, then there's all these buildings that can't be upkept, and all these dreams that can't really go as much. And so by your support of the association, we can do things like that. Oh man, over the pandemic, you know, like all of these churches and were just like, what do I do from here? And the staff at SABA were buzzing around trying to figure out how to damage control big time.
Yeah.
You know, and then even, you know, through the what do they call it, snowvid thing we had here with all that, you know, so a lot of our churches needed help with that, and including our building, which got a bunch of pipe breaks here. So you think about all of that, and all of a sudden resources coming from. So again, been around for 100+ years, but our greatest work we look forward to coming in the future. We think we look forward and we're praying to God that through these challenges that we've had, with everybody being locked down, frustrated, stressed, isolated, that God will use this as an opportunity to rebuild the community with love, care, unity, regardless of race, regardless of political affiliation, regardless of whatever, but the love of Christ, to come in and to be a blessing there. And SABA's, praying and working towards that every single day. So thank you for those words of that, because that's great to see what we're able to do with your church. Take care. God bless you. Thank you for your time. Get this out there if you can, and we look forward to future episodes with people like Yolanda. Take care.
God bless you.
SABA Radio.